Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or you just happy to see me?
I love it when StreamYard screws up, but welcome everyone. We are back with another personal top 10 list from 2001 and basically the early 2000s were pretty much full of like actually good films to the point where it's like kind of difficult to narrow it down to 10 for me at least.
The 2000s are almost on par with the 80s.
Yeah. Was it
Those are
like
good.
particularly the early 2000s?
Yeah.
2010s, early 2010s were like still decent, but for the most part, 2000, 2010 roughly.
Yeah.
So many good movies.
And maybe the best decade for adaptations, because there's a lot of adaptation movies and stuff
Mm-hmm.
in the 2000s. And they didn't shit on the source material.
Nope. And to answer your question, Mike Hill, I mean, totally subjective, but Harry Potter did not make my list. So I don't personally include those movies, but other people do.
I didn't include it either, but that might happen for the third, because I like three better than one.
So, but anyway, I think we might have at least the same number one for this year.
I'm fairly sure we will be in a fellowship when it comes to that.
Yes. But anyway, chat, welcome. Like I said, we are back with, and these are our like a personal top 10 list. So it's like, it doesn't mean necessarily that the movies that we pick are stellar or Oscar worthy or anything like that. And it's just like, if they're on, we're going to watch them pretty much.
Yeah.
Can I say hello to the chat real fast?
I have a sneaking suspicion we might even have, I think we'll have at least 3 crossovers today.
Possibly. But welcome, Trey. And we're going to discuss No Worries to Luke for the lurk. I think you can guess what my number one movie is. Well, if it's the same as mine, I think I can guess. Soul Assassin, good to see you.
You know, that's always weird to me when
Hello, Gravy.
Jaluk said that, he'll be watching us on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think that you'd be on someone's TV back in the day?
No. And Planet of the Apes did not make my list. I've seen it. I tend to forget it exists.
Not to be confused with Playmates of the Apes, which is an entirely different movie. It's not sci-fi at all, actually.
No, but I have seen it. I know which one you're referring to. No, it did not make my list at all. It would not even make my top 20. So, but there it is, chats. Because like this, I haven't even counted how many movies I saw. It took almost 2 pages from 2001. Like at least of movies that I remembered seeing. Now, unfortunately, I had to leave a good bit off.
I usually, when I have to decide, I go with which one do I, rewatch.
Oh yeah.
More often, right?
So. But anyway, so for those who are new to the stream, what Steve does, even though he doesn't like doing it because the die tends to go my way, but I still make him do it, is that he rolls a d20 to see who goes first.
Yeah, and you always win, which proves I'm honest. I could easily cheat and say whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you want 1 to 10 or 11?
I'll do 1 to 10.
I rolled a 9. I thought it was a 6, but then I realized, what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's less than 10, so I had 1 to 10. But anyway, chat. All right. So my number 10, technically is an adaptation of. I say technically an adaptation of a Chaucer tale, and Chaucer is actually a character in this movie, which I very much enjoyed, and that is A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger. I can't remember how to pronounce the lead actress's name, but she was like kind of big in the early 2000s. And then she kind of dropped off
Shannon Sossaman.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what exactly happens, but she kind of dropped off. But for a while in the early 2000s, like she was pretty big.
Yeah, she was in the Sleepy Hollow show for a while she played Pandora.
Yeah, so
she was in a really cool B movie called The Day, which is post-apocalyptic. Mary was in it too from The Hobbit. Sorry, from the Lord of the Rings.
And you mean the actor Dominic Monaghan? Right?
Yeah.
But Alan Tudyk is in it. Rufus Sewell is in it, and basically Rufus Sewell is it's pretty much, I would say, typically stereotyped as playing villains in his career, but he does do a really good job playing a bad guy.
And then you have James Purefoy as King Edward or whatever it was.
Yeah, who wants to participate in these games, like these sports, these games, competitions, but when it's discovered that it's King Edward, knights typically capitulate. I'm not going to joust the king. What if I actually accidentally kill him? So they surrender. Not Heath Ledger's character. Heath Ledger's no, he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what the risks are. I'm going to joust him in that one scene, which I loved. Which
this movie might be a little bit of a ripoff, because the whole premise is identical to the first Dunk and Egg story by George Martin. The old knight dies, and the squire takes over his armor and pretends to be a knight, and then goes to tourneys and stuff to joust and all that stuff, and then he turns out he's more knightly than the actual knights. So kind of, it came out a few years before this script was written, so kind of might be, but it's I think also kind of an allusion to, I don't know if anybody's read the Canterbury Tales, but it's called The Knight's Tale because the Canterbury Tales, written by Geoffrey Chaucer, this group of travelers, they're each different kind of known. You don't know them by names. You know them kind of as their kind of occupations of sorts. And one is a knight. But Geoffrey Chaucer is a character in this movie, and he's played. Why am I blanking on his name? He plays Vision. Paul Bettany.
In the MCU. What?
Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany. Who is my favorite character pretty much in the entire movie, because the first time you see him, he's naked because he's lost his clothes literally. Gambling, that's his vice. So he
steals the show.
Yeah. So he basically tags along with Heath Ledger's character and his two quote unquote squires as to these competitions, because he's hey, I can forge the papers, faking your lineage, because you had to prove your lineage to compete in these games or these events. So Chaucer is I can forge this stuff, you just let me tag along, give me clothes and stuff like that, and I'll make sure that you can compete. But Paul Bettany does steal the show. He has no filter whatsoever.
Makes you wonder why he hasn't gotten to do more comedy roles, because he tends to play more brooding characters or villains. But he is superb at comedy.
Oh yeah, it's basically that, which I tend to prefer in terms of comedy, is the dry wit. And I think he like I said, that's part of the reason why he steals the show, is because he can deliver a line, it's funny, but at the same time is stinging to the other character, but you still have to laugh and how he delivers it. And I it's, and the soundtrack is probably what is most remembered from this movie, because it's A Knight's Tale. It's set in medieval England, but the score is Queen. It literally starts out with the crowd stomping along to "We Will Rock You" by Queen. But it still works. It still somehow works in this movie. But that A Knight's Tale made my number 10.
Yeah,
so,
it's actually my number 8.
Okay, well, I won't say too much more, basically. But that's what I want to say, without giving too much away in terms of the plot, basically. But it's it's, I very much enjoy it. It's kind of romantic comedy, but they don't exactly focus too much on the romance.
Well, heck, you could even count it as a sports movie.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I don't want to say too much because if you haven't seen it, I recommend giving it at least a watch. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's a very good movie.
Oh, hell yes, it is.
But yeah, that's my number 10, A Knight's Tale.
Yeah. My number 10 might be on your list. It's a comedy called Rat Race.
It's my number 9.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's not higher, but yeah. So, but for me, but Rat Race is my number 9, which yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, a bunch of people get picked at random. Really, they get a coin at a casino, and the casino owner John Cleese wants to. Him and his friends are basically betting on everything. A little bit like trading places, if you think about it, making all these bets.
A little bit like that's like an aspect at least from trading places, but yeah. So,
but they need to get to Mexico City, was it?
Yeah, I think it was like at least somewhere in that area, a locker basically. So they're all given a key that works in this lock, and the first one there, gets like the money that's in the locker.
Yeah, great kind of. It's almost a little bit kind of like the Cannonball Run mixed with.
Well, it's a remake of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Yeah. Okay.
It's literally like with some changes. It's a remake of a 1960s movie. So, John
Lovitz's storyline, if you can call it that, is the best one.
Yeah, his is the best one with his family. It's the best one.
Yeah, that stuff would not fly today. They would have gotten canceled.
Especially when he accidentally drops a slur.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I can't say what it is because YouTube will most likely eat my channel if I do. But if you've seen the movie, you know which one I'm talking about. So
it rhymes with bike.
Yes, which is what he meant to say, but he said something else. So
yeah, and the LGBTQ character gets pissed.
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. At a World War II vets picnic. Anyway, go ahead. I'll talk about it.
John Lovitz is he probably steals the show in this, and I thought Seth Green and his sidekick they have a fun one, and Cuba Gooding.
Are they brothers or just friends? I can't remember, but yeah, like I think like Seth Green, like that pairing, John Lovitz and Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah. And it's got Newman from Seinfeld in it too, who yet again not stable.
It's basically like a bunch of cameos in this movie.
Yeah,
kind of like how the original worked, where like they were cameos, but not really cameoing as themselves necessarily, but you could pick them out.
Yeah, it kind of gave me an '80s feel, like an '80s comedy. Really, but yeah. Very rewatchable, great comedy, and the 2000s have a lot of them.
Yeah,
good comedies, but there's not too much to say about it though because it is very straightforward. Great cast, getting to do what they do best, I guess.
And I was a little bit more to say when we get to me talking about it for my number 9. But yeah, so but what you start number 9?
Yeah. Number 9 is an action crime comedy, or well, not too much comedy, but it has some comedy. 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Did not make my list, but I know I've seen it because you sent me that clip, and I was like, I haven't seen that music video, but I have seen the movie because I remember, because it's Kevin Costner and Kurt Russell. They are Elvis impersonators.
Yeah, or
so they commit crimes like dressed as Elvis.
Yeah, or more Elvis enthusiasts, really.
Yeah. Well, impersonator / enthusiast, basically, but those are the characters.
They rob a casino in a hell of a shootout, actually. betrayal happens, and it's basically a chase for the money bag.
Yeah.
It changes owners. Well, John Lovitz is in this one too, actually. It's got Christian Slater, Courtney Cox. She's actually superb in this. In my opinion, she probably did the best job. But Costner plays a complete badass in this. Usually, he plays a good guy. He's not
a good guy in this one.
No. He even does like a quick draw thing against a highway cop, which is awesome. Yeah. This movie doesn't take itself too seriously, though. It's a straight up crime action movie thing. Kurt Russell and Costner are fantastic, and this one's underrated because it's very, under the radar for people.
Yeah,
but definitely an 8 out of 10, I'd say.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's just like I said, I had to narrow it down to 10, so it's like I had to leave that movie off my list, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my number 9.
And my number 9 is the movie that we were just talking about, basically. That was your number 10 was Rat Race. I'm not not gonna say too much more about it. It's one of the few movies where Whoopi Goldberg is tolerable. I think she wasn't like necessarily the best part of the movie, but her character was tolerable, like her and her daughter. And I can see where you like think Cannonball Run in terms of the plot, because it becomes a literal race. It is designed as a literal race for the money, whereas it's a mad world. The race kind of develops organically because out of greed. Because the way it's mad world opens up, this criminal who's on the run from the cops dies in a car crash, but before he dies, he tells those who went down to check on him that there's money buried under a big W, in this park at this location, basically, and that's where he buried the money he stole years prior. And it was never caught for. He basically buried it, waited a while, and he was going to go get it, but died in the process of evading the cops. And because these people could not come to terms with dividing it evenly amongst themselves, comedically, I might add, because it is very funny, them trying to figure out how to divvy up the money. That's when the race kind of happens, basically, where it's that it organically spawns, where they're wanting to really get to the money. I'll do a watch party of it at some point. I have to I said, I have to plan for that, because it's a mad world. If that's what you're talking about, is on the long side. It doesn't feel like it's on the long side, because I think it's really funny, but it is on the long side. It's there's actually an intermission part, a little bit.
I thought the lady who played Whoopi Goldberg's daughter was better.
No, I'm saying it's normally I find Whoopi Goldberg annoying.
Yeah.
But that pairing, I think arguably worked, and she was tolerable in the movie.
Yeah.
As her character basically. Normally I'm not really a fan of Whoopi Goldberg. But I think the best parts of Rat Race were Rowan Atkinson, Seth Green, and I can't remember if they played brothers or friends, basically, but his buddy, and John Lovitz and his family. John Lovitz is, I'd say, arguably the best of those three. I think followed for me by Rowan Atkinson, because Rowan Atkinson's running gag with this character, he has narcolepsy.
Yeah.
He's not from America. He's very much a foreigner, so he doesn't understand things, which is ties into the comedy aspect of his character.
He plays an Italian.
Yeah, so I'm saying he's not American, basically. He's visiting America, so he doesn't understand. He calls cocktail weenies cock doggies because he doesn't know the terminology that well. He doesn't know English that well, so which ties into his character. But John Lovitz and his family, because they're on vacation in Las Vegas, and he's randomly picked to be partake in this race. And I love the scene where he's trying to convince his family to continue in the race, and how much money how much the money would buy, and he's like, that's like a lifetime supply of hummus, basically. I think he's trying to convince them.
Really fucked up though, because he makes his daughter shit out the window because he doesn't want to stop the car, and then like the scene switches and they've been stopped by the police, and you see in the background one of the police
one police like cleaning the car, because
so that was a nice little subtle thing.
So but I'm saying like and then like but like he's the best part. Like the other characters I do like. I think probably not that I like don't like them as like actor or so forth, but Breckin Meyer, his character, and the woman pilots, like he's
Amy
he kind of teams up with what?
Amy Smart.
Amy Smart, but I'm saying like I didn't exactly care for their pairing in the movie. They were fine. They were fine.
Also Dean Cain played her ex.
Yes. So, and like with It's a Mad World, there are a number of quote unquote cameos of sorts, really, like basically where it's like it's more like oh hey it's that dude, or hey it's that actress, like where they play a role, but it's not exactly a big role. It's more like nudge, like like this actor, this actress kind of thing. Like Kathy Bates has a small role in the movie, basically.
A really fucked up one, actually.
I know. I'm saying it's like so it's like it's much like It's Mad World, where it's like it's like nudge, wink, wink. Like here, like these others, mainly actors, as far as the cameos, basically cameo roles, but still works. Anyway, so, but of the two, I tend to prefer the original. And like there is a reason why I don't put Rat Race higher on my list that than I normally would, because I do love it as a comedy, but the ending kills it for me.
Yes, the ending wasn't good.
Yes, the ending kills it for me. I don't want to say what it is. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to say what it is or like why I don't like it, which is why I prefer the original primarily. But up until the ending, it is a very good comedy.
Yeah,
I think it like respects what came before it with It's a Mad World, but still makes it its own, which I think works. So, but up till the end, I'm like, no. Yeah, no. All right. So I start number 8. My number 8. So I remember like seeing it and thinking, holy shit. Because up until that point, I would not have thought of Denzel Washington in a role like this.
Oh, that one. That's my number 2.
Well, I won't say too much. Because
just have at it.
No, I'm not going to say too much because people haven't seen the movie. I don't want to give anything away. But it's Training Day, basically. Yeah. So, like the two main characters are played by Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. And Ethan Hawke, they're both cops. And Ethan Hawke has basically been like transferred and assigned to be a partner to Denzel Washington's character. All right, I don't want to say too much, basically, because a lot of it involves drugs and dirty cops, which Ethan Hawke's character finds out the hard way. But it is a very good movie. It is a very good movie. After that, Denzel basically kind of plays his roles the same way ever since Training Day. But in Training Day, it worked. Training Day, it worked, and I loved when it got to a point where it's like, because he like Denzel Washington, his character thinks of himself as untouchable. Like he's untouchable. Yeah. Nothing can happen to him. All right, because he is it's like, and so forth. And then it gets to a point where it's like he realizes that like he doesn't have that power over people anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of a commentary on how much you can get corrupted.
Yes.
Because the corruption stuff kind of escalates, and you go like, holy shit, he did this, he did that.
Yeah.
So it's just and also a little commentary on how small little good deeds.
Yeah, especially when like with Ethan Hawke's character and what he does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how it saves his life.
Yeah.
I don't want to say what it is, but when that scene was happening and when it was happening, I was like, holy shit, because
it
the
actually
audience knows.
Twice.
Yeah, the audience know, like he's telling the truth, but then I get to the point like, are they going to find out? Because like it's like really, it does not hold back in the grittiness and like how corrupt good cops can get become,
or maybe how corrupt they're forced to get,
or that basically, or like it's like they're forced to get, but it's like one of those words like they're forced to get corrupt and then they realize they like being corrupt.
Yeah.
So
how long can you pretend to be corrupt until you're actually corrupt?
Yeah. So yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say too much. It is like lower on your list, but like a lot. But basically, it's are they the Vice Squad, Vice cops? Basically, the ones that deal with drug addicts, drug dealers, and things like that. The ones that have to go undercover a lot.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the type of cops that we're talking about that are in Training Day. So it's not like all cops necessarily. It's like the particularly types that have to, on a daily basis, live with the dredge of society, basically.
Also,
yeah, I'm saying narcotics. They deal with that. So
the whole movie only takes 1 day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As well.
So it's
makes
very
it even more messed up.
Very visceral, very good. I mean, I'm not gonna say much more. So you can get your thoughts on it, basically. But that's my number 8, Training Day.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to have at least 3 crossovers, and that's already happened. So,
yep,
I figured.
All right, you're number 8.
Well, it's A Knight's Tale.
Okay.
That's my number. Yeah, we've already talked about that, and not too much more. It's not a deep movie, is it?
No, it's a simple plot, but simple doesn't necessarily mean bad. Basically, no. It knows what it is. Doesn't try to be anything else.
Yeah, and it also looked like the actors had a lot of fun with this. And guess what? They had a female armorer, and they weren't preachy about it.
No,
or
I think and it was plausible. Why she wasn't kind of a plausible reason why she was an armorer and why it was and they were sent to her as a joke, but she ended up being the best armorer, right. But it wasn't made a big deal of.
They actually reference it in The Witcher 3.
Yeah,
we have the dwarf is actually a shit armorer.
Yeah,
but his apprentice, human lady is the talent.
Yeah. It's getting kind of the jokes on the ones that sent Heath Ledger and his squires to her because she ends up being very good.
Yeah.
But but it's not they don't beat you over the head with it. Basically, it's more or less she's just a character. She's an armorer and she happens to be very good. She just happens to be female.
Didn't have all kinds of journalists and whatever saying this is a feminist movie because the armor. Look at the armor.
So, but anyway, but there it is. So you start number 7.
My number 7 is objectively a shit movie. It's really bad, but it's so much fun, and it's Jason X.
Well, there you go. You're tied, same with Trey.
Trey and I have a bond, but Jason X. They pretty much figured we've done everything we can with the Friday the 13th. So let's just freeze them and send Jason to space.
Well, they put the leprechaun in space, so
yeah, why not? It's just fun, you can't possibly take it seriously, but it's Jason getting well, hell, he turns into a cyborgish thing as well, and he battles a cyborg lady. Who's
I remember
probably
that.
She's probably the best character in the movie. That cyborg lady, she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's Jason on a spaceship.
Pretty much, it's pretty like it's. There's no other way to describe that movie, and it did not make my list. But yeah, so I know.
I just had to put it there because I keep rewatching it. I know it's shit. I can tell it's shit. But they obviously had a lot of fun making it. Peter Mensa is in it, who's a terrific actor. He's the guy Leonidas kicks into the pit, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, him. Okay.
Yeah, but Jason X, objectively shit. I keep rewatching it. It's
well, like I said, they found a way to put a leprechaun in space, so
yeah.
Like I'm like, yeah, I'll buy Jason going as well.
Yeah. Well, the explanation for it actually works. They actually explain it. It's still stupid, but it, there's some logic to it at least,
So
instead of just, it's space magic. But yeah, that was my number 7.
All right. My number 7 is a supernatural movie. I don't want to say a lot. Like, there is a twist to it that, like, once you know the twist, it kind of does lessen the impact, but atmosphere-wise, I, love the movie. I don't know if anybody else has seen this. Hey, JB. I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but it's called The Others with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. Basically, it's good the first time.
It's good the first time. I still watch it, even though I know. Like I said, it's like once it's kind of like the M. Night Shyamalan films. Like once you kind of know the twists, especially with Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
It kind of does lessen the impact when the reveal happens, but I love the atmosphere.
Yes.
It's almost surreal.
And that the house, I love the house.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, like I said, it's like basically it's post. Is it post World War One? Or basically Nicole Kidman, she has 2 kids, and during Buzz, you need to kind of calm down. She has 2 kids, and she's waiting for her husband to return from the war, and they have basically a 3-person staff. You have a groundskeeper, like a male groundskeeper, female cook, and a maid, basically. World War II. I knew it was one of them. I couldn't remember which one, but she's waiting for her husband to return. There's always a fog. There's always a mist, which is why I very much love watching this movie, because it's we can't really see much of anything around the house. Really, it's in the house. There's no other location in this movie. So it's not like she travels anywhere or anything. Everything takes place in the house.
Yeah,
and these circumstances start happening, these bizarre incidents start happening, and you think, it's Nicole, maybe Nicole Kidman's character seeing things, or she's overreacting. Especially the one scene where she thinks there's an entity that's possessed her daughter. I can't say a lot because there is a reason for it.
Yeah, the reason makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm saying, but when you find out the reason, it makes perfect sense. But when it happens, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know what? I saw The Innocents. So yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. 1951.
It's basically kind of like the movie subverts your expectations big time, doesn't it? successfully.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of those movies again where it's like the first time you watch it, it's holy shit.
Yeah.
When you discover it, then after that, it's like now I know. So I know what to expect. But I love the performances. I love the performances.
I remember figuring it out before the reveal because they had that. There was one scene that gave it away. But I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh yeah, like you kind of start figuring it out, but it's still, like I said, it still works when the reveal happens, and then like you discover like why certain things are happening, like the reason why they're happening. Again, that makes sense. So, and like it does lose slightly, again, like rewatchability because of that. But again, I've always loved supernatural horror films. Like, and horror is like, as much as I love a certain trilogy of movies, horror has always been my favorite like genre in terms of films. And I'll watch this movie just for the atmosphere alone and like the supernatural aspects to it.
Yeah.
So like a small cast, but each one does a very good job in their respective roles.
It doesn't need a big cast.
No, like I said, like it's very contained. It's like entirely takes place in the house. Like there's no other location, really. It's like the grounds of the house, basically, essentially, and the house. That's it. But yeah, The Others, number 7. If you haven't seen it, and you give it a watch, a first time watch, you'll understand why I'm saying it's kind of like the M. Night Shyamalan reveals.
Maybe a good Halloween movie, actually.
Oh yeah, very much. I enjoyed it. But yeah, and that's my number 7, The Others. All right. My number 6 I have 2 animated movies on my list. So I had to include because I love them. And the first one opens with a song that wasn't supposed to be the opening song, but it was loved so much that they kept it as the opening song, and that is Shrek. The Rockstar song was only supposed to be a placeholder in the first movie. It was only ever supposed to be a placeholder in the first movie, but test audiences loved it. So they kept it. And basically Shrek, Trey's like me this now. Shrek is an ogre who lives in a swamp, keeps to himself, because basically the mentality of the humans is because he's an ogre, he's evil and so forth, and needs to be captured or attacked and things like that. So it kind of teaches kids, a little lesson about discrimination and not judging the proverbial book by its cover without hitting you over the head with that lesson. And Shrek also learns a lesson as well in this, basically, because he literally keeps people at arm's length. Donkey, voiced by Shrek is voiced by Mike Myers. Donkey is voiced by Eddie Murphy. And it's Donkey in a way forces himself into Shrek's life, but at the same time, their companionship works. Now, it came out in 2001. It was based on a book that came out before 2001, obviously, but it's like our story. But it came out in 2001. Yeah, because that was performed at the end of the movie.
It's actually one of those milestone animated movies, if you think about it, because Shrek was a massive hit.
Yeah, like I said, because it does teach lessons about judging the book by its proverbial cover and so forth. And Cameron Diaz voices the princess. Yeah, Chris Farley was actually originally supposed to voice Shrek. And I don't think, I like Chris Farley, but I don't think he would have worked. I think Mike Myers is of the two, is the better choice. Yeah. Despite the fact that Mike Myers was came in after Chris Farley, he was the better choice in my opinion.
It's also pretty much a perfect fairy tale story.
Mm-hmm. Because
I think they lost a bit of that in the sequels, though.
Well, because like basically there is only one book, so basically the sequels were like completely the imagination of the studio creators.
Yeah, and too much modern stuff in the sequels, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
basically, for those who haven't seen Shrek, the character Lord Farquaad voiced. Why am I blanking on his name? He's playing Dumbledore in the.
Yeah, John Lithgow.
Yeah, John Lithgow. I like blanking on his name. I like the actor.
Yeah, he's
he voices Lord Farquaad, and he basically rounds up all these fairy tale creatures and dumps them in Shrek's swamp. And Shrek, upset, rightfully so, because his land has been invaded of sorts, goes to Lord Farquaad and says he wants like the fairy tale creatures removed. But in order to do so, Shrek has to go rescue a princess for Farquaad, who is in the highest tower and guarded by a dragon. So there's like the fairy tale aspect, a lot of fairy tale aspects about that. He has to go rescue a princess. He's just and he's the one who ends up rescuing the princess, even though Farquaad's the one that wants to marry her. And again, they each one sort of judges the other before actually getting to know one another.
Yeah,
you find out things about the princess, you find out things about Shrek and so forth, and why he acts the way he does and so forth. And I think they just universal messages.
Yeah, absolutely, and perfectly made for kids, and adults can obviously watch it as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's basically more. It's like geared towards children, but there's enough in it. Like there's like a lot in it if you actually pay attention. That's adults are like, oh, I get that.
Yeah.
So I get that. That's the one thing they don't really explain is how she gets food. But like that's why it's like they don't exactly explain how long she's been in the tower.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she was kind of like provided with food initially, like enough to like enough to last her a while. But with that's one thing that's not explained in this. Oh, the wrestling where it's there's a wrestling ring where the knights were going to compete to see who was going to be sent to rescue the princess. So it's like. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in this movie that both kids and adults love, and I included because I didn't think I would have enjoyed it as much as I did when it first came out, and I was like, that kind of looks it looks weird. It doesn't didn't look good to me, and then I watched it after it had left theaters, so I had to rent a copy because Blockbuster was still around. And I was like, okay, this is actually really good.
It's probably, for what it is, it's probably a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize at the time that it was an adaptation. So, but I liked it. I put it on my list and it's at number 6.
Yeah.
So,
remember what I said? That decade is excellent for adaptations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're going to get to another one later, I think.
Well, yeah. All right. You're number 6?
My number 6 is Ginger Snaps.
That did not make my list. There's only one part in it I don't like, but for the most part, I do like the movie.
Yeah, it's a werewolf movie. Definitely a Halloween movie.
Yes.
Kind of a B movie, really.
Mm-hmm.
The only big name in it is Mimi Rogers, who plays the mom.
Yeah.
Underrated actress, big time. And all the actors in this movie do a terrific job.
So, hot take, I think the third one's the best of the trilogy, but that's just me. But I do enjoy Ginger Snaps.
Yeah, overall. Basically, Ginger gets bitten by a wolf,
mm-hmm.
starts changing, and her sister starts, getting worried.
I think the sister is played by. She was the child actress from the adaptation of It TV adaptation. So it's like, so that's where I know her from. The one that's not Bit, like the one that's kind of like emo of sorts. I think she's in the original adaptation of It. Yeah, Emily Perkins. Yeah.
Ginger is in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, and then she was also in what's that Kane movie where he plays? Trey, can you help me out here? Or JB? It stars Kane, and he's basically he is a See No Evil. Thank you. She was in the second one. She was in the second. She was in See No Evil 2. Yeah.
Well, this isn't really a werewolf movie. It's more about the becoming a werewolf. The month from you get bitten till you change, really.
Yeah, it's more like the transformation of sorts.
Yeah, it's almost more psychological. But definitely a good Halloween movie. A different kind of werewolf movie. Done incredibly well on a small budget. You know? So,
yeah. I like the third one because that's one that sets in the like what is it, 1600s, 1700s? Roughly?
I think it's in colonial times.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that one. I know I've seen the second one. I know I've seen all three. But of the three, I like the third one.
Both of them are in the X-Files.
Okay.
And so is Mimi Rogers. Steps in for Scully for a while.
That's cool.
Yeah.
My mom most likely saw this because, like I said, she was the one who really got into watching X-Files when it was on.
Oh, it's so awesome. X-Files. It's my favorite show of all time. But anyway, my number 6 was Ginger Snaps.
All right, you start number 5.
Number 5 is another fun movie that doesn't take itself seriously at all. Again, an X-Files character in it. It's called Evolution.
Okay, this does not make my list. All right, but I've seen it, so I know.
Yeah. Basically, a meteorite hits a small town, and stuff starts happening to the animal life due to that happening. It's got Sean William Scott as a fireman trainee who teams up with David Duchovny, who is a doctor who has lost his license, I think, due to giving all his patients diarrhea. And what's his name? Isaiah Washington and Julianne Moore is in it, and Dan Aykroyd. Basically, small town gets infected by creatures and all kinds of stuff. It's definitely more comedy than sci-fi, though. You know, I guess it's a sci-fi comedy, but more comedy.
Yeah,
great chemistry between the characters. It's great fun. All the the jokes work. I thought, and yeah, it's one of those. Maybe a guilty pleasure almost.
Probably. So, no, like I said, it did not make my list because I had to narrow it down to 10.
Yeah, I basically it made my list because I keep rewatching it.
So, I need to rewatch. I haven't seen it in like a long time, so it's like did not remember it enough to say, oh, like it's gonna get make the top 10 list.
Well, you could do a watch party for it, right?
Yeah,
it's not that long either. So
nope.
Kind of like you could easily do a double feature with this one and The Faculty.
Probably.
But
I know I've seen The Faculty recently, so because that was just on.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was watching an Instagram reel, and this guy was pointing out like the kind of the absurdity of the early 2000s movies, like mentality, where it's like you have the quote unquote ugly girl, and he's like, to make her beautiful, you just straighten her hair and get rid of the glasses, kind of a thing. Just pointing out like the Princess Diaries And he pointed out like that aspect in the faculty because Famke Janssen he's like we're supposed to believe is unattractive because they try to make her dowdy as the teacher, but then when she becomes like what happens to her, like, so what do you do? Oh, just straighten her hair to get rid of her glasses, and now she's hot. So it's like he's like pointing out the ridiculousness of that. Yeah, it's like he points that out too, where not another teen movie actually pokes fun at that whole mentality in these films.
Famke Janssen is actually one of the very few Bond girls that has had a good career afterwards.
Yeah. But I remember, like, you brought the faculty and it just made me think of that because he's like pointing out how it's like we're supposed to believe she's not hot. This is Famke Janssen we're talking about.
Have you seen what she looks like now?
I think I have, yeah, and so we
don't do those face operations and
Botox. I'm saying like it's like
Just
so
don't.
it's like, but before she was really good looking, so it's like
oh hell yes.
But that's your number 5.
Yeah.
My number 5 is really the only horror movie that made the list, and that is Jeepers Creepers.
That's my number 3.
Yeah, she destroyed her face. So it's like, well, I'm not gonna say too much. I think most in the chat know Jeepers Creepers, basically. But I remember when I saw it, I didn't see it in theaters. I rented it, and I watched it with a group of people. And if you like picture it, basically the TV is here, all right, and then like you have like the sofa and like love seats, kind of like in like kind of like a U, like an L shape, basically. Right, we were all sitting and watching this movie, and at one point, we were watching the screen because our thought was that something was going to happen in the background. All right, and we were waiting for a certain truck to appear in the background, but when something happened in the foreground, it caused one girl to jump, and that created a chain reaction down the love seats, basically. That's what I like remember most from watching it my first time, was that little chain reaction that happened because someone just did this and caused like everyone else to just like do that down the down the love seats. But basically Jeepers Creepers, it alludes to the song Jeepers Creepers because that's like what you hear playing at different points in the movie, and he has this creature. You don't know what it is. You don't know too much about it. That until you find out through exposition, basically through being told as hearing it as the characters are hearing it through exposition, that collects bodies and has like a very morbid artwork where it lives. But why it's collecting the bodies and everything, you have no idea why. But it follows these brother and sister. The brother's played by Justin Long. I can't remember who plays the sister, basically. But he's like following those two characters. And for some reason, it wants one of the two characters. And you don't know why until you find out through exposition the reason why. So basically, partly a creature feature. And very very much kind of like in a cat and mouse chase movie.
Yeah. Actually, quite a bit similar to The Hitcher.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jean, that's the sister. Like I said, they play brother and sister, and they're on their way home. And I like when they're playing the license plate game, seeing if they can figure out what the license plates, basically. And they're playing that as a game, and they encounter the truck, and they think it's beating you. No, I'm not going to say too much about that, basically. But like I said, it's a chase movie. It's a cat and mouse game because they are being chased by this entity, this creature, because there's nothing human about it that they can tell, that even the audience can tell. And she's and again, it wants one of them. Why and which one? Well, you gotta watch the movie to find out. But very, very creepy. Very creepy. And if I don't know if it was anybody who's seen, like, oh wow, I feel old. If anybody's like not seen the audition, or like the guy like like he was talking about how he auditioned to be the creeper, it's actually pretty fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it's a freaking awesome movie. Definitely a Halloween movie. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. And for the most part, I do enjoy the sequel. It's a step down, I think, from the first one. But just watch the first two. Don't bother with any ones after the second one. Because like it's two ends in a way where it's like I don't like they did not need any more. But it's like it's one of those movies. Yeah, it's a horror movie where it's like it's I can't say too much. I can't say too much because if you haven't seen it, it hits. It does hit.
If you're a horror fan and you haven't seen this, get it watched ASAP. It's good.
Let's put it this way, JB. I need to be plastered to willingly put it on. So either ply me with some moonshine or whatever hard drugs you can find to send me. But sober and drug-free, no. I'm saying sober and drug-free, no. Like you need to, I need to be 3 sheets to the wind to watch it willingly. So it's that. So yeah, I need to be the proverbial 3 sheets to the wind to watch it. Anyway, but Jeepers Creepers is my number 5. Don't want to say too much because I don't know how many of these movies people have seen in the chat. So if you haven't seen it, give it a watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, so number 4 is a sequel. It's one of the few times where it's like I enjoyed the sequel to a movie that came out, not too long prior. That's very much enjoyable. I do not remember the third one at all, but the first 2 I love. No, it's not American Pie 2. American Pie 2 actually did not make my list, but American Pie 2 I actually saw that one before I saw the first one. But I'm talking about The Mummy Returns.
Yeah, that one didn't make my list due to bad CGI.
There is bad CGI, especially in a certain fight that happens. Yeah. But up until that point, I it's one of the few sequels that well, I'm sorry, but it's like one of the few sequels that I enjoy just as much as the first one. Basically, yes, there is bad CGI, particularly when it comes to a certain character near the end of the movie, but it is a sequel to The Mummy, and basically, Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz's characters are married and they have a child. Her brother, what's the actor's name who plays her brother again?
John Hannah
returns as playing her brother, and then Oded Fehr returns as playing the same character from the first one, and he will get character growth. Yeah. Basically, and it's Aknun what's the
Anck-su-namun.
Yeah, no, but the actor's name who plays him, he returns basically because Imhotep. Yeah.
Oh, Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah, he returns basically, and his love from the first movie has been reincarnated. Anck-su-namun. Right, and she, along with her, band of, bad guys, basically, they are trying to resurrect Imhotep again. And the way to do it is they need this bracelet, that Brendan Fraser's and Rachel Weisz's son puts onto his wrist, and it latches onto his wrist. So now you have the bad guys wanting to get the sun because they need that bracelet because it shows them the location of where to, where the Scorpion King is located, basically. So like they like wanted to make do all this shit, and they need this. They need this bracelet, which is attached itself to the sun. So that becomes a rescue mission of sorts because Rachel Weisz's character, whom we discover also has a connection to Anck-su-namun and Imhotep in a way, has been taken, has been kidnapped. So they need to rescue her, and they need to get to where the bad guys need to go before the bad guys get there because they need to stop the bad guys. So yeah, that was annoying. I didn't mind the sun. He was, kind of was annoying, but at the same time, it's like I was fine with him. But yeah, so it's like, again, I don't want to say too much, but it really like becomes, I liked the Anubis army. Not the best CGI, but I liked the Anubis army.
Rachel Weisz is married to Daniel Craig, I believe.
Yeah, she's married to Daniel Craig. So, and Skip the Jet. I don't remember the third one. I know I've seen it. I don't remember anything about it, but I know I've seen it. That's the third one.
It was okay, but it was Rachel Weisz wasn't in it, so.
Mm-hmm. So it's like I had to put the Mummy Returns because I liked it. It had the pygmy mummies of sorts in this movie, which I thought was like both weird and funny.
Thank you, D&D idea right there.
Fuck. Anyway, but it's like I liked the Mummy Returns. CGI notwithstanding, it wasn't the best CGI, but I can look past that because the story is entertaining. I liked Brendan Fraser. I liked Rachel Weisz. The bad guys were, I like the proper mix of like a threat, but at the same time, it's like there's some humor to them as well because it doesn't take itself seriously. It is very much an adventure plot from the 1930s. So you watch it kind of like a long serial, basically. So I liked it.
It's pulp.
Yeah, it's basically like pulp fun. Basically, so like pulp adventure movie, and I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4, The Mummy Returns.
My turn now.
Yep. Your number 4.
My number 4 is a war movie called Enemy at the Gates.
That nearly made my top 10 because I really liked it, but I did not include that.
Not to be confused with Enema at the Gates. That's a different movie entirely. But anyway, it's a war movie, World War II from the Russian perspective, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're struggling. They're losing people.
It's based on like semi-based on a true story. At least it's based on a real historical figure.
Yeah. Jude Law plays a sniper who gets.
That's the real historical figure. So yeah. Like he actually was a sniper. Like he actually was very good.
Who gets propped up a bit because Russia needs a hero.
Mm-hmm.
So almost like Captain America, right? How he got propped up.
Yeah.
And he keeps doing a damn good job sniping the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Germans send in their sniper, played by Ed Harris, who has the most spectacular headshot I've ever seen in a movie when he shoots Ron Perlman while Ron Perlman is leaping. That one's sick.
Yeah.
It's so well done. I remember seeing that and going, damn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it turns into a cat and mouse game between Ed Harris and Jude Law.
Yeah.
There's a romance story in it involving Rachel Weisz. Again, she was on a roll that year, I guess. And who else was in it? Stanley Tucci, I think, played Jude Law's friend.
No, not Stanley Tucci. It was
the other Fiennes.
Yeah, Joseph Fiennes.
Yeah, keep mixing them together because they look the same, don't they?
A little bit, I can see, but it's Joseph Fiennes, basically one of the Fiennes brothers. Basically, he plays Jude Law's friend, comrade of sorts. The one who basically starts propping Jude Law up because he witnessed what Jude Law is capable of. So he's like, it's like, he's the one that initially like has the idea to prop him up because Soviet Union needs someone to look up to inspire them.
Yeah, and Bob Hoskins as well is in it as a Russian general, I think it was. Yeah, this is a great movie, period.
Yeah.
It works as a war movie, it works as a drama movie, it works as a love story. All of it. Great movie. For anyone who hasn't seen it, go watch it. I can't spoil it, but there's a lot of sniper action, and that
a lot of sniper action. Like I said, it is Hollywood embellishment, but like I'm not saying that necessarily to deter anyone. Basically, because I always say don't get your history from Hollywood or anything like that. But it's a very entertaining movie, and it is based on an actual Soviet Union sniper who was actually very good.
And that movie would not be made today.
No. So, yeah, it is not exactly an upper, as Secretary points out. It's not exactly an upper, but it is very good.
Yeah, the Russians suffered.
Well, they actually, which I appreciate from this movie, is they actually show that Soviets suffered. Yeah, not just because of the war, but because of their leadership.
Yeah, and in World War II, my country, Norway, was occupied.
Yeah,
we got invaded, and the ones who bailed us out was the Russians.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Hitler, but Stalin killed more of his own people than Hitler did.
Yeah,
but Hitler is like, it's like that the focus is on him, and I'm like, yeah, that's really bad. I'm not taking that away, but it's like 20 million under Stalin.
Yeah,
and it's like, why is no one mentioning that?
Because he was a socialist.
I know.
Well, both of them were.
Actually, Stalin was more communist. So basically, it was like communism versus socialism, basically. So it's like both were fucking bad.
Yeah, but people don't read history books anymore. So
yeah, it's like
I can literally hear it, like someone going, "Grok, is this true?"
Yeah, Grok, is this true? And I'm like, oh shit. But that's what I appreciate about the movie is like it showed that Soviets suffered under their leadership during the war and so forth. Like it was not good for the Soviets, and it kind of makes my eye twitch whenever the Soviet Union is called an ally of America in World War II, and I'm like, no, they weren't allies.
No,
they were not allies. We were fighting the same enemy, which made us co-belligerents.
But that's actually where Hitler lost, when he turned on the Soviet Union, because he got locked on the Eastern Front. That's but yeah, the only other movie I can remember that does the same thing is Das Boot, where you get to see the German submarine from and you see that they're just people too,
so it's like, so my problem with the Germans and the Soviets was more like when I in history basically is more their leadership than anything, because I have nothing against the German army per se, because a lot of them they weren't all Nazis. They were just part of the German army, and they're called to war, so they're going to fight. Same with the Soviets. Not all of them were communists, but they were serving in the Soviet army and military, and they were called to fight.
Yeah, and in Das Boot, they actually show that several of the people on the submarine don't agree with the leadership of the country.
Yeah. But so that's your number 4.
Yeah, and I suppose to do number 3.
Start number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jeepers Creepers.
All right.
So we've already talked about that, and I just realized that all of the movies on my list except one of them, I watched on remember DivX?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the DVD code got ripped off, and you could download movies.
I remember that. Yep.
All of these movies I've seen on a burned CD. It's it just struck me because that was when it kicked off. And then people were swinging by, hey, here's 20 movies for you, buddy. Like, yeah,
Oh, I like, even when I was deployed to, especially to Afghanistan, basically, a lot of my movies I pulled from people's hard drives.
Yeah.
So.
It's, I think a lot of people who weren't around back then, they don't realize how big that thing was.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, you could download and copy movies onto a computer. That wasn't a thing before then.
Nope.
If you wanted to copy a movie, you had to copy the VHS.
And good luck with that.
Yeah, well, you needed 2 VHS players.
You need 2 VHS players, or or if you wanted, like, say, to go like VHS to like blank DVD to copy a movie, you need a combo VHS and DVD player. That sucks.
And if you wanted to copy a VHS movie onto another one, you had to actually play the movie. So copying it took as long as the movie lasted.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jeepers Creepers, a perfect Halloween movie. Reminds me of some X-Files episodes, actually.
I can see that. A little bit of creature feature, so.
Yeah. But yeah. Jeepers Creepers, rewatchable as hell.
Oh, yeah. My number 3 is the military movie I have on my list. Also not an upper. But very visceral. And does not hold back on at all illustrating like the horrors that these military men went through. And there was both Rangers and Delta Force, basically, primarily, and that is Black Hawk Down. But should have been a rather routine mission of sorts, basically. Which supposed to be quick. Go in, grab this guy, essentially, or get in, get out, basically. That's what it's supposed to be. But one incident basically turns everything upside down, and now these Rangers and these Delta guys, because there are some Delta guys there as well, are basically stuck away from base, away from safety, in an area of Somalia that hates their guts. Like, everyone is fucking armed in Somalia. Like, this is basically, it does not hold back from showing that Somalia is, no, it kind of still is pretty much a shithole, but definitely back then it was a fucking shithole. And everyone had a gun. Like, it was very criminal. All right. And so forth. And and the Somalians fucking hated the Americans, the military, the Western military. Still, it's still a shithole, basically, but then it doesn't hold back for showing that it was a bad country. It is a bad country, but when the movie came out, it was a bad country. And our military guys are stuck, literally stuck, trying to make their way back to base and trying to survive along the process. And again, it's not an upper. It is not an upper. If you're expecting all of them to survive, well, I'm going to spoil that a little bit. No. Trace, I was cutting onions watching it. It hits you in the gut.
I've actually never seen it. It's one of those movies I never got around to watch.
Yeah, you need to watch it. It hits you in the gut multiple times. And they're I was telling you, being backstage before we started it, it showed there actually was an incident that occurred that actually, you could probably find the clip online that what the Somalians do to a couple Americans. And I don't want to say what. It's not not perverted or anything like that, but it was on the news when that incident happened, and they pissed off a lot of Americans when that happened. But it is worth watching. It is worth watching. It's not an upper, so you don't go in expecting happy ever after kind of an ending.
But
you need
to watch it before the weekend's over, because I've almost watched it 50 times, but then something's come up or whatever,
Yeah, you need to watch it. And you pretty much care for all the most of the characters, like pretty much all the characters. So it's not like oh, like, this one can die, I don't really care about. I don't care about that. I'm me personally, when I watch it, I'm wanting them all to get back safely, even though deep down I know like it's impossible to do. And so forth. It has Jason Isaacs in it. He's in it. Orlando Bloom is in it. Ewan McGregor is in it. Josh Hartnett is in it. Eric Bana is in it. It is a very very decent, decent cast of who's who in Hollywood back then.
Orlando Bloom, Jason Isaacs, Eric Bana, and Ewan McGregor. They were all, bursting onto the scene basically at that time.
Yeah. So it's basically the trace. It was almost star-studded in its cast, basically, because you know the actors. So it's not like no names for the most part. All the actors in this movie, or at least you should know most of them. And then so basically it shows the Rangers and the Delta Force. Rangers are Army, Delta Force is Marines. And it's kind of a joint operation of sorts that turns to shit. So yeah. But very good cast. Very good cast. And like I said, hits you in the guts multiple times. So, and there's a reason why it's called Black Hawk Down.
Yeah,
you understand that.
Keep in mind, it's Hawk, not something that rhymes with Hawk. Okay.
Oh, shut up!
You'll end up getting a really different movie.
Yeah, don't go there. But there's a reason why it's called Black Hawk Down, and you'll get that right away in the movie. So it's not like spoiler or anything, but there's a reason why the movie's called that. But anyway, that is my number 3. Black Hawk Down. So, and I start number 2, which is another animated movie that I had to include because it's one of my favorite Pixar films. And I love the a while ago. Sig needs to clean his internet history. But it's one of my favorite Pixar films.
It's gonna stay dirty forever. Well, to be fair, it's not that dirty. I'm just doing puns.
So, but it's Monsters, Inc.
Never seen it. I thought you would have the Atlantis movie on it.
I almost did. It nearly made the list, but I'm like, I had to narrow it down to 10. And Gravy, you're gonna hate me. But Super Troopers did not come out in 2001. You go on IMDb. Like I said, you don't use IMDb as to get the years necessarily for movies when they're released, because the release date tends to be the earliest release date, and sometimes that's the Sundance Film Festival release date.
Yeah.
Super Troopers was 2002.
Yeah.
In the United States. Hey, fuck Norris. I was like, not to call you out, Gravy, but I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, no, Super Troopers was a year later.
You should call him out. He made a mistake. He was a fool.
But it's a year later. I know you go on IMDb and it says 2001, but if you actually scroll down to the where you can expand the release dates, you'll see that actually was released in the United States in 2002. It was released in the Sundance Film Festival, the first release, in 2001. So
what would be fun if you could highlight Gravy D and make so he fills up the whole screen and just go, look at him. That's the guy who made a mistake.
Like this.
Laugh at him.
I can't do that. It's like this, but yeah. But yeah, Monsters Inc. is my number 2. Basically it's one of my favorite Pixar films, and it's told from the perspective of the monsters that are in children's closets. And basically, we find out that the reason why they scare children is because they use fear to power their city. And like basically, fear is a power source. It's basically a energy source. But they're having an energy crisis because kids aren't afraid as much as they like you used to be, because like they've been desensitized and so forth. So
actually a good concept.
Yeah. And during an incident, basically, a child accidentally makes its way from their world, her world, to the monster world. And Sully, voiced by John Goodman, and his friend, Mike Wazowski, voiced by Billy Crystal, need to find a way to get this child back to her room. And to do so, they have to find her particular door. It's not like they can just go in through, like, like any door and like pop her back into her room. They need to find her specific door, just how it works. Basically, they have these doors on the tracks that come down, like, per, like, a particular child's room or particular room in a house, basically. Because, like, there's a chase that happens where they have to go room to room to room to room through doors and doors, basically. And you see, like, different locations as a result because of, like, how it works in their world. And then, like, they discover, like, a little thing. I don't exactly want to say what it is, because if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil anything. But in the process, they discover some little nefariousness, for one way of putting it. And I love, like, how it ends up at the end, basically. So it's like because, like, they find a way to make it work. That's the best way I can put it without spoiling anything. They find a way to make it work. That's the best way I can do it without spoiling anything. Yeah, it's a very cute movie. I loved it. I thought it was like a very, very unique concept, because it's like, for like it's most stories are told from the perspective of the children, like the monster in the closet and so forth. But then Pixar is like, well, what if we told it from the monster's perspective, like the ones that are coming out of the children's closets? Like, where are they going? And I think it's like brilliant. So Monsters Inc. Like John Goodman voices Sully, Billy Crystal voices Mike Wazowski, Bonnie Hunt does a voice in there. Like, it's not a big voice. I can't remember who voices Roz, but Roz is a fucking hoot in that movie, especially her interactions with Mike Wazowski. Steve Buscemi voices Randall, I believe. And so forth. He's basically, Randall and Sully are the scarers, and Mike Wazowski is the one that like helps Sully. Like, he's kind of like his like number two. Basically, he's the one who, like, supplies the tanks that get filled up with screams to as a power source for where the monsters live. So, but I love it. Monsters Inc. is my number 2. All right, your number 2.
Well, it was Training Day.
Okay. All right.
That.
All right.
My number 1 is your number 1.
Yeah.
Fellowship
it was inevitable.
Yeah. I remember back in the day when it was announced, and we got this little teaser trailer very early on, and that has stuff in it that's not in the movies.
Yeah.
Because the Fellowship was supposed to be attacked by orcs following them into Lorien. And you see a scene where Legolas turns around and pulls the bow, and Boromir is behind him, right? That's from that deleted stuff. So they did film it. But
yeah. Well, they filmed all 3 movies together in 2000. Yeah. So when they release things, like, it's like it's before the editing stage, essentially.
Yeah. I remember having a blast going to, I think it was the OneRing.net that would show who had been cast for this and that role and all that.
Yeah.
I was in there every day looking for updates, but this is probably a perfect movie and not a completely perfect adaptation.
No, not a perfect adaptation, but I'd say a very well cast, very well acted, visually stunning film.
Yeah. And the soundtrack is a 10 out of 10. And like I've said before, the setting is the most important thing in many fantasy, stories and stuff like that. And in this case, it's Middle Earth. If it didn't look like Middle Earth, it wouldn't have worked.
It's kind of like
Because-
Gotham. It's like, like Gotham needs to, like, you need to get Gotham right
Yeah,
with Batman just as much as you need to get the Batman character right. Middle Earth, you need to get it right. You have to feel like you've stepped from our reality into Middle Earth. And like
Yeah.
New Zealand was like perfect for
Yeah.
that location.
yeah. Norway would have worked as well, actually.
Well, I feel like Peter Jackson from where he's from, basically. Like,
yeah.
I can understand why he chose location, but like you look at New Zealand, like where the filming happened, and you're like, that is Middle Earth.
Yeah. It's. I think this is the best of the trilogy, because the other two have some stuff in it that didn't need to be there. Like the third one has that scene with the skulls coming out of the wall. It looks like a giant pot of popcorn boiling over. And they turned Legolas into a cartoon.
A little bit, not as
But
much
this-
as like they turned him into a cartoon in The Hobbit. A
No,
little bit in these movies. Still
But
a bit
this one-
believable, more believable than in the Hobbit movies.
yeah. This one though had it right. I thought. They had him be skilled
Mhm.
as an archer and not a superhero.
Yeah.
The whole cast is pretty much perfect. I'm not too keen on Pippin.
I'm fine with him. Like I think he was fine as Pippin. I've been reading for the reading streams, Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers and so forth. I think that he like captures Pippin well.
Yeah, it's just the whiny screaming.
Well, I mean that's
Anyway.
his voice, so it's like I can't really. I'm fine. Like I live with that as long as like I feel like he's capturing Pippin. I think he does.
I hold ass to the cinema to watch this. This is probably the movie I had anticipated the most in my whole life.
Yeah.
This was
And
probably
people nowadays are trying to it's like, oh, it's like you have a problem with this casting, but it's like you would have had a problem with Ian McKellen because Ian McKellen is gay, and look, see, here, there's proof that people had a problem with Ian McKellen getting cast because he was gay, and what, you found three dickheads on a forum
yeah.
that had a problem with that. Meanwhile, 98% of the people who who were looking forward to the movie either didn't know he was gay or didn't fucking care because they
and
wanted
how-
just to see him
the
portray
guy-
Gandalf.
The guy who plays Haldir is gay too.
Oh yeah, Lee Pace.
And, The Bard the Bowman.
Yeah, he's and no one cares.
No.
All we care about is, am I going to watch this movie and see these characters? If it's a yes, fine.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like 98% at the time when these movies were announced either didn't know or didn't care. But they
No.
find three dickheads on a forum because that's how we conversed back then, ladies and gentlemen. We had to find a forum with people to talk to because we didn't have Twitter or YouTube or any such shit like that. So they find three dickheads on a forum that have a problem with him being gay, and as proof that Tolkien fandom is homophobic. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I remember looking at the forums, and when the cast was announced,
Mm-hmm.
people would make lists of movies that those actors had been in, so you could see them, what they were good for, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, perfect movie, so rewatchable, especially the extended version.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
That's the only versions I watch, pretty much.
Oh,
Are the
it-
extended versions.
I actually got scolded for liking it because the person said, "Well, the movies aren't canon." I'm like, no,
Yeah,
they're
no shit. The
adaptations.
books are canon. The movies are adaptations. Like, no
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it didn't start off as a movie franchise, did it?
No, it's like I'm like when people say that, I'm like, no shit. Yeah, the books are canon.
Yeah, This is just
Adaptation. It's an adaptation. It's an adaptation. So it's like there's adaptations of like multiple existing canon from like books and things like that. So it's like that doesn't make them canon. That just makes them adaptations of the existing canon.
Yeah. But anyway, there's so much to say about it, and I'm gonna let
we'd have to dedicate an entire stream to like per movie, basically, because there is so much. People like joke that it's like a walking movie, but I'm like they're going to walk. They're not exactly going to take horses everywhere and things like that. I mean, that's how the story is. So if you're bored with that, then go watch something else.
Well, it is a road movie kind of, and they can't take horses over those mountains where they're heading into.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work. Plus, they don't want to be seen. Secrecy is kind of key as well. But
and people are like, why didn't they just fly eagles into Mordor? And I'm like,
another thing though that really helped the movie, which was a bonus they didn't even think about, was Christopher Lee happens to be a massive Tolkien fan.
We have Christopher Lee to thank. Like again, like these aren't perfect adaptations because things were added, things were like removed that people do not like, people have a problem with, and I can see that. I can totally see that, and I can understand. As much as I love these movies, I can like pick out, that's not good. I would not have done that, or I would have included this sort of thing.
Yeah,
but we have Christopher Lee to really thank for tightening the reins on Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens.
Christopher Lee is why we did not get Arwen at Helm's Deep, I believe.
Oh yeah, I'm saying it's like he basically threatened to walk.
Yeah.
Like if he felt like they were deviating too much, like way too much from the actual canon, he threatened to walk. Like we have him to thank basically for the adaptations that we got.
Yeah,
are they perfect? No.
Christopher Lee
compared to the Hobbit movies,
Tolkien.
Yeah, he had met Tolkien. He read the Lord of the Rings trilogy every year, even up until his death. He was reading it up until his death, and he like watched the movies right before he died. And he's met Tolkien, and he's actually, if the movies had come out decades earlier when Tolkien was still alive, or close to when Tolkien was still alive, Tolkien wanted Christopher Lee to play Gandalf.
Yeah, well, he gave him his blessing to do so.
Yeah, to do so basically, but he was like that. Like we could have had Christopher Lee as Gandalf because Tolkien you have my blessing to play that character.
I actually think Christopher Lee would have been great as Gandalf. He's mostly known as playing the villains and all that stuff, but he's actually great at playing. I
think with the sharper features, I think he could have worked. Like younger, I think he would have worked as Gandalf. But the older he got, like kind of the sharper his features got, I think like physically he like embodied more Saruman than Gandalf.
I actually thought a good Saruman would have been Terence Stamp.
He could have been good too. Yeah,
because he has the the voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Saruman needs to have a powerful voice. It's in the character,
and that's why I think Christopher Lee ultimately works because physically, he works, but as soon as he talks, you're like, that's Saruman. That's presence.
I saw an interview with it was him, Ian Holm, and Ian McKellen, and they were talking about their roles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Gandalf's playing kind of like an angel, right? And all that stuff. And then Christopher Lee starts going deep into the lore, and Ian Holm and Ian McKellen are just sitting there, holy shit, right?
Oh yeah, because he knows.
Oh
and
yeah.
The wizards. That's why. Okay, we're gonna have to start wrapping this up because I will go into a tangent about this, but it annoys the fuck out of me at times when people compare the wizards of Lord of the Rings to wizards in Harry Potter or other works, and I'm like, they're not those types of fucking wizards.
Wizards actually means wise man.
Yeah, I'm saying it translates from the Kenya to wise ones or wizards. Just that it's just the translation, but they are Maiar. They're spirits. They are not even human. They just take corporeal form when they enter Middle Earth.
And they've always looked like the way they do in the movies.
Yeah, they enter Middle Earth as old men. So how we see them in the movies essentially is how they entered Middle Earth.
Yeah, that's their permanent look. That's how they always
people
look.
just see the word wizard and then think it's like the same thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because the Balrog is a Maiar, it's a spirit.
Yeah.
Sauron is a Maiar, it's a spirit, basically. They're not like they take physical forms, but they themselves aren't physical beings.
Nope.
Anyway, it just annoys the hell out of me when I see that. Because especially when it's like when they make lists and things like that in comparison, I'm like, they're not the same fucking thing.
Not always again, the same. I mean, hell, they're usually different based on whoever wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, Gandalf has more in common with Merlin, which was intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, he's powerful, but we don't get to see all the power because
when the wizards, quote unquote, they enter Middle Earth, actually their powers are nerfed by Iluvatar. So that way, if they are ever influenced to shirk their, for what way of putting it, basically, shirk their devotion to Iluvatar and their the roles are given, basically, and crave power and so forth, they don't have all their abilities. Iluvatar kind of saw to that. Basically, yeah, I'm going to send you here, but I'm going to kind of nerf you at the same time. Because Gandalf and Saruman, Radagast, two blue wizards at their peak of powers.
Alatar and Palando.
Yeah, they would they would decimate Middle Earth if they so chose. Yeah, they're nerfed. Their powers are nerfed. They're still powerful, but their powers are nerfed, and you don't see it.
Basically, their main power is wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah, so you don't see everything, but people are like, "Oh, he has a staff, so he basically he has to cast spells and things like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, not that's not all it is to his character."
Well, the problem that it comes from role-playing games,
mm-hmm.
where people assume that it's a wizard, so it's the wizard class in a
no, it's not. It's again, RPG. It's just that's what the word translates to. Because don't forget, people. Tolkien created the languages before he even wrote the story. He basically wrote the story around the languages. So he wrote the languages, created the languages and the translations, and then decided, you know what? I'm going to create a mythology to go with this language I created.
Yeah. And,
so it's just a technical term. Basically, it's basically how it's when humans started speaking and giving names to things and so forth, so to better understand what they were seeing. That's how it is. Basically, it's so the race of men can understand these entities, but it's their limited understanding. But it kind of helps them understand, if that makes sense.
Gandalf means magic elf in Old Norse.
So, yeah.
Elf is elf. So that's where the word comes from. Which, I grew up with this. This was, part. A lot of it is part of my culture. So a lot of this came rather easy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just by
there is a little bit of Norse mythology inspiration in Gandalf as well, because of how the description, an old man wearing a gray cloak and hat and things like that is how Odin is described when he walks amongst humans.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm going to stop here, because if I were to keep going, we would never end this stream. But for those who don't know, I am reading The Lord of the Rings, and I will be starting part 2 of The Two Towers, technically book 4, but starting part 2 of Two Towers tomorrow.
Oh, we need to go through our list too.
Yeah, so you can go first, and then give your outro, and then I'll go through mine and give my outro, because it went a bit longer than I intended.
Yeah, well, number 10 was Rat Race.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 was 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Number 8 was A Knight's Tale. Number 7 was Jason X.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 was Ginger Snaps. 5 was Evolution. Number 4, Enemy at the Gates. Number 3, Jeepers Creepers. Number 2, Training Day. And number 1, Fellowship of the Ring.
All right. Mine list, starting from 10, is A Knight's Tale, Rat Race, Training Day, The Others, Shrek, Jeepers Creepers, The Mummy Returns, Black Hawk Down, Monsters Inc., and Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring. So, if Stieg does not have anything more to add, I'll be live tomorrow. Hopefully you're on the early side, because I have to get up early the next day, but early side, reading the first 2 chapters. No Joe Dirt. Anthony. The first 2 chapters of, like I said, technically book 4, because Tolkien wrote these as 6 books, but the publishers published 2 books at a time. So technically book 4, starting book 4, but part 2 of the 2 Towers. Beginning tomorrow, the first 2.
It's an in-book book, kind of.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, basically, the way Tolkien wrote it, he wrote it as like 6 books, basically each book the same length roughly as The Hobbit, but because he took so long to write them, because he had written the Silmarillion first, because it took so long for him to write The Lord of the Rings, the publishers didn't want to risk the readers, their audience, losing interest, waiting long time between books. That they took the first 2 books, published them together as Fellowship of the Ring. Then they took the next 2 books, published them together as The Two Towers. Then the last 2 books, and published them together as the Return of the King.
Yeah, but it was intended to be 1 book.
Well, I mean, they all 1 book, but like he wrote it as 6, 6 individual books, 1 story, but 6 books.
Yeah,
but the publishers didn't want to release it as 6 books and risk losing interest.
Yeah, he wrote it that way to make the work more manageable.
Yeah,
basically, but it is 1 book, really.
yeah, I'm saying it's all 1 story basically, but he wrote it like that way. So like when in the book, because the copy I have, like book 1 would have been the first book in like the 6-book series of the story, the overall 1 book. But
yeah,
publishers decided to take the first 2 and publish them together. So that way, instead of waiting for 6 books to be published, each had to wait for 3.
Yeah, and he actually tried to publish the Silmarillion a decade before.
Yeah, people were like, when people like claimed that there's no second age material because Silmarillion wasn't published wasn't written until after Tolkien's death. I'm like, no, it actually was written before The Lord of the Rings. It just wasn't published until after Tolkien's death.
Yeah, and the Silmarillion was, well, it actually isn't finished because he intended to have more in it.
Oh yeah, he always did, because nothing was ever good enough for Tolkien. He was the consummate perfectionist.
Yeah, but his son, and this is kind of fun seeing people, oh yeah, his son had to finish it. No, his son was actually his editor by trade.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like his kid did it. It was his editor did it. And what he did was put it in a chronological order.
That's all he did. It was written.
Yeah.
He just had to figure out the order and publish it that way. So it's like
that was it.
He didn't write it. So people were like, oh, like his son wrote it. Like, no, he didn't. He just helped publish it because it was after his father's death.
Yeah.
That's it.
It literally says edited by Christopher Tolkien.
Yeah, but they don't pay attention to that because they have to run with the narrative that there's no second age material to work from for the fucking Rings of Power show. And I'm like, motherfucker, there is. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back with the reading stream tomorrow. I don't know exactly what time, but I'm going to go with try to go as early as possible because I am reading 2 chapters and I can't be up late. But look for that tomorrow evening. No stream Friday. And yeah, I did see that. Gravy clued me into that basically because premium events are moving to ESPN, which means you have to pay $30 per event. So it looks like I'm going to be getting a VPN. But anyway, because I'm not paying $30 for that shit.
Plus, Disney owns it.
Yeah, so I haven't that is not really my biggest issue. It's paying $30. But I've been watching it for free on Peacock this whole time. You're not expecting me to shell out $30 per. I'm like, no, I'm not. Anyway. But yeah, no stream Friday. we'll see how I feel Saturday to see if I'm feeling up to doing a stream or not. But if I don't do a stream Saturday, I'll do a watch party. I know, but I'm saying, like, I don't think I'm going to want to spend money per pay-per-view event just to be able to watch, like, but anyway, but Talk Nerdy to Us should be on my channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So on my YouTube channel, Talk Nerdy to Us, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I'll go over the topics, and I'll make sure that Steph knows and remembers that it's on my channel this coming Sunday. But take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all tomorrow evening for chapters 1 and 2 of the second part of Two Towers, where we see what's been transpiring with Frodo and Sam. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.